Hey, you know what they say?
What?
If the trigger's gold,
Zero fold.
they will fold. Although I'm not a huge Browning fan.
Oh, why?
Yeah, me either.
Marlins used to have gold triggers too.
I might paint my trigger gold when I get my 4570 for my birthday.
I have a gold trigger. Put my gun right now.
Welcome back, YouTube. Friends, family, followers, mostly friends and family. We're the Dirt Nap Bros. I'm Hunter. This is Stefan. And today, we're going to be talking about kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. Everything from scents and lures to how to keep your scent down in the field for deer season.
Yep. And with this, every hunter has their own rituals of how they do this.
Yep.
His vary from mine.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about what we use and basically our rituals. Because I know deer hunters, you all have rituals you guys follow. If you guys don't follow that, you think it's going to be a bad day. So
do you even hunt if you don't have rituals with your
No,
scents?
no.
Do you even hunt?
no, it's very superstitious. It's very superstitious.
It is superstitious.
It is.
You gotta pay homage to the deer king, you know?
Yeah. All right, so I guess let's start with some scent control stuff. Let's talk about how you do your scent control.
So I have a combination of things that I do. So first thing I do when I wake up in the morning for hunt is I immediately get up and I take a shower. So I enjoy some of these dead downwind products, especially their body wash and shampoo. One, it's an all-in-one, so it makes my life easier because I can just wash everything with it. And two, they say it lasts for hours. I have used other products and they make me feel kind of chemically and dry and just not great. This one does not do that to me, right? The next thing I do is, let's reverse that. Even before that, I do laundry. So when I do laundry, I do a combination of things, right? So if the wife's feeling real generous with the budget, she'll buy me some of these little, laundry pod looking things that kill odor. That's got the same stuff that's in their sprays. It's got the same stuff that's in their body wash. And it's the spray kind of like what you have there. So I'll take two of these little pods, even though it says one, and I'll toss them in my laundry. If she's not feeling so generous, I use baking soda. I use a scent-free, free and clear detergent, and I use vinegar. I'll do a little bit of vinegar, just white vinegar. I'll do a capful of detergent and a sprinkle of baking soda, and it kills scents. If you've ever had a kid that peed the bed and you just couldn't get that smell of urine out, or a dog that pissed somewhere and you needed to get it out, those three items, vinegar, baking soda, and detergent, scent-free detergent, are going to kill that scent. It kills the enzymes on them. So that's kind of like the poor man's version, and this is the I have a little spending cash. Next thing I do is after laundry, I toss them in the dryer for a little bit if I'm in a hurry. If not, I will go outside and hang them up to air dry. And then I'll take, this bottle's a refill bottle, but I'll take a scent spray of any choosing, any choice, any flavor, and I will spray all my clothes down. I then do, especially for turkey season, although turkeys can't smell real good, I still do it. I'll do a permethrin spray, and then I'll also spray them down again with that. And then my wife's not a huge fan of how this makes her hair feel. It makes her hair feel dry and brittle. So we were at a archery shop, Godwin's Archery, looking around, and she found this scent-free conditioner. And she uses these two products before every hunt. She'll wash down with this and finish with this conditioner, and she is absolutely in love with this conditioner. And when my beard was much longer, I would toss this in and it felt great. I also use scent-free deodorant. Yeah, and that's it for my like pre-cycle prior to I go out for my scent control.
All right, so my pre-cycle superstition. Sorry, I don't have all the bottles here because they're still in my shower or at my house. But so what I use is in the shower I use this Scent-Away. I buy it at Walmart. It's the Scent-Away. It's just a super cheap, no odor body wash, hair shampoo all in one. That's what I use. So I'll shower with that. And then the deodorant I use the Nose Jammer deodorant. I get it off Amazon. You can find it at, any hunting store. That's what I use. I use the Nose Jammer. For my clothes, I do the same thing. I have my same kind of wash cycle. I use the Scent Killer brand detergent. So I'll wash my clothes in that. I'll throw it in the dryer with the dead downwind dryer sheet. And then for that, what I do is I take all my clothes and I have this big giant plastic bin. I'll throw all my clothes in there. And then I throw one of these right here, Fresh Earth by Hunter Specialties. Yes. I'll throw a couple of these wafers in there because they're
right.
Yeah, they smell. They smell like dirt.
Yeah, straight dirt, and not cheap dirt, not Sandhills dirt, like good dirt.
Yeah, like your gardening dirt. Yeah, they smell really good. So I throw those in there. All my hunting clothes, everything I hunt with, goes in that bin with those, and then whenever I want to go hunt, I just pull it out. It smells like dirt, and that's what I go hunt with.
So real quick, the next thing that I do as soon as I'm done with that and I get in my truck is I plug in this scent slammer. So this is an ozone maker for your vehicle. So it just plugs into your little cigarette outlet. This thing glows green. It's got 2 USB ports, so you can still have access to charging devices. And it does a pretty good job of killing odors. I've used this all season, last season, and I use it on road trips. Whenever the kids get something stinky in the car, I plug it in and it does a pretty good job. And the newest thing that I've gotten that I have not field tested for hunting is this little box here. So this is also an ozone maker. This is made by Boneview. It is under $50. You can get them off Amazon, and it's got like 2 or 3 different settings, a little charging port up here. And I say it's been field tested, but not for deer. So I took a vacation this Christmas, and my wife got me this. I came home, this was sitting under the tree. I unwrapped it, and then walked into my bedroom, and my bedroom smelled like cat urine. So we've got a small cat that decided that its favorite place to pee while we were gone was not in the litter box, but instead in my dog's bed that was next to my bed. So my entire room smelled like cat urine. I turned this on, I sat it down, I walked away with the door closed and the windows closed. I came back 45 minutes later, and you would have never have known, after removing that bed and washing it, you would have never known that I even had a cat. This thing worked pretty dang good.
Yep. And then, then my field spray, I use Scent Killer Gold. That's another thing. Before I put it in my box, I spray all my clothes down with Scent Killer Gold. So the reason I use the Scent Killer is because they say this can last up to 20 days with one spray. Because prior season I was using a different brand. I was spraying down every time before I walked into the woods. I was already wet from getting sprayed down, and the bottles just drained all the time. I was buying more.
Yeah,
so that's why I went with this.
This is 10 days after drying. And you know, being wet and walking in, especially in the winter months, it sucks, man.
It sucks.
Especially September here in North Carolina, because we'll wake up and it'll be, 40, 50 degrees. You soak yourself down with spray in a thin, like camo base layer basically is what we wear, and a pair of thin pants, and you walk to your stand because by 8 or 9 a.m. it's going to be 70 degrees or so. Mm-hmm. It sucks to be soaking wet, so it's nice to have those that last a while. Yeah, and
so with this, so I'm sure some of you guys out there watching the channel will be like, you guys don't need all this scent stuff, just play the winds, blah, blah, you can shoot deer all day. Well, guess what? I grew up back west. I've hunted Colorado, I've hunted Washington State, and yes, back in those days, I was hunting blue jeans and a red flannel, and guess what? You can play the winds and you can shoot deer at 300-400 yards away and get away with it. Down here in the south, deer are a lot harder, it's a lot thicker, you have to be a lot closer to these deer, and the swamp deer down here, they're not dumb. So I'm going to use the scent killers, all this stuff, to give me the best advantage.
And the private property that we had access to this year, there was one entrance, one exit. So if we wanted to hunt that every other weekend, every weekend, we had to be very careful about our scent. We had to use cover scents to come in. I would spray down my boots every time with some doe urine. You just had to be very careful. And even some of the public land that we hunt, there's really just, you drive in on one fire break, you stop, you get out, and you have 1 or 2 entrances if you don't want to walk 1.5 miles, 2 miles to get where you're going. You don't have a lot of different ways to get in. You can't sit on a hilltop 300 yards away or 200 yards away. You got to get in within 30, 40 yards of these deer down here, especially with how thick some of these forest areas that we are hunting.
Yep. All right, so yeah, now we covered that we use for our prior to our hunt, how we prep all our closing, our scent control.
Let's talk about the walk-in, and then when we get there.
Yeah, let's talk about what you do with walk-in, and then.
Yeah.
All right, so for the so after when we got to where we're hunting, so for the walk-in, so what I use on the walk-in is usually I'll get on my truck, and so I carry this bag right here. This bag, I call it my scent bag, and it's pretty ripe.
Yeah.
It's pretty ripe. So this is where all my
that bag could go 20, and I'd be okay with
yeah. So this little bag just clips to the side of my pack I carry in. It looks like a dump pouch or a forager's pack. If I throw all my scents and everything I'm going to use in this pack, so I can get easily, when I go into my blind or wherever, I can reach in and grab stuff. So when I come in the morning, I have two options I can do. So one, I can just be the super sneaky and just walk my trail to the blind. Or what I can do, this is actually a new one because my old one's still in my truck and it stinks. But this is a drag. So you run this behind you, hook it to your boot.
Yep.
You put doe urine on one, and buck urine on the other one.
Yep.
You just walk to your blind, and it just helps cover your scent into the blind. To be honest, though, I only do it very rarely. I just be super sneaky and just be super quiet and just walk to my blind.
Yeah, we've bumped deer
Yep.
in at dark using green light, white light, and red light.
Yep.
Coming in with no drags, just scent control and just being careful. And we go in when it's dark, and as you come in, I've noticed with a white light they're gone. There's no a red light, they're usually gone.
Green light, though.
Green light, they stop and stare at us, and it's kind of creepy. All you see is these beady eyes laying down on the ground, and they stand up. You're like, oh crap, that thing's
Yeah.
big. And they usually will just kind of walk off. I don't know if it blinds them or what the deal is, but as long as you freeze, like that one you bumped, you just froze.
Yeah.
Just
So
freeze.
yeah. So it was during the rut here in North Carolina. Him and me went out, and the way we were hunting on this private property, he split off to his tree stand, and I split off to my ground blind. So I'm walking. Next thing you know, I look over and I see two beady eyes like 30 yards from me. I was all like, "Oh man, that's a deer." Stands up. It's a huge monster. But I have my green light on. I can't tell if it's a buck or whatever. But I can see two beady eyes. I'm like, "Oh, that's a huge one." Takes off towards him. He didn't spook him. He didn't grunt anything. He just walks off.
Kind of meandered off. He
Yeah.
was just taking his time. He was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what this is, but
Yeah.
I like it.
So then I walk a little further, about another 20, 30 yards. And actually I see more beady eyes. I'm all like, oh, it's another one. And the same thing. I put my green light on it. I just hold still and it just walks off. And I was like, all right, cool. So then we get in the blind and it ended up being a successful day. And we shot a nice, great buck. So definitely have a green light if you're going to do out. We don't have one here, but this is just be a generic green light. They all work.
Yep, green light headlamp.
Yep.
The next thing that I like to do is, so I use this Sheduction doe lure. It is like a silly string, but it's covered in a specific scent. So you just pop it off and aim it where you want, squeeze. They say not to, oh man, that's right. They say not to use too much. You just kind of coat a branch here or there, but this is a cover scent. So as I'm coming into a spot that I've never hunted before, as I'm going to use my saddle to climb up, or if I'm going to sit somewhere, I'll put some of this out behind me, or whichever the way. So if the wind's coming in my face, right, I'll kind of put it behind me. So if anything's coming up behind me, between this and these, I'm hoping that I'm covering enough scent that they're not going to spook out, or they'll at least be curious enough to come into the general area. Also the fresh earth, I'll hang one of those. I hang one of these for my tree stand. I hang one of these for my bag. These things are awesome.
Yep, same. I use the fresh earth. So once I get in my blind, which I'll talk about what I do before I get in my blind with these other scents, this fresh earth, I literally hang it from in the center of my tripod in my blind, and that's what I use in my blind.
And these come in multiple scents. So they come in like a fresh earth and like a pine. And the pine one, I'll tell you what, it smelled like a Christmas tree. Like through and through, it just smelled like nothing but a Christmas tree. So you get these in multiple scents if you want. Just kind of do a combination.
Yep. So prior to me getting in a blind, though, before I get in my blind, this is kind of my system of what I do. So I either run, I'll run these usually. So these are just generic, the scent holders you can hang on trees. So 2 of these have doe estrus in them, and 1 of these has a dominant buck. And I just mark them on the bottom with a knife so I know which one is whatever. You can hang them however you want, but I do a triangle around my blind, about 10, 20 yards around my blind. And that's what I use most of the time. But then I found these this year, and these things are magical.
They're killers. They're killers.
So these are by Black Widow, and they're the smoking sticks. And so before I get my blind, I literally will go out 20, 30 yards from my blind. I'll light one of these, stick it in the ground, and let it do its thing.
So I'm cheaper than he is, so I don't use these. I take a cotton swab, like the ones that my wife would use to take her nail polish off. I steal those from her, and I load them up in my pack. And I'll take my doe urine, buck urine, and spray them on there, and then hang those on trees. The one thing that I will not skimp on are these. So these Black Widow deer lures, they're like an incense stick. You can stick them in the ground. They say you should stick them in and then cover them with a bucket and drill a hole in them. We haven't done that
No,
yet.
I haven't done it.
No, no problems. But we just take one of these sticks, stick it in the ground. It's just like an incense. You hold a lighter over it until it's lit. You let it burn for a second. You'll blow it out, and it'll kind of glow a little bit of like a reddish ember for a while, and it'll just kind of burn. So I appreciate these because they serve 2 purposes, right? So first and foremost, when I'm sitting in my stand, this is a good wind indicator.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep,
with the wind on the ground. So
Yep.
you know the wind on the ground might be different than the wind at 30,
Yep.
40 feet up, right? So the wind on the ground, this is going to tell you what the wind on the ground's doing at all times. And I have used a wind indicator, 20, 30 feet up, and seen that the wind is slightly different on the ground than what it is because I had one of these.
Yep.
The other thing, I'm holding it upside down. The other thing that these things do is if you use one of these in the rut,
They bring in big bucks.
they bring in big, angry bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Every buck that I have seen come into a spot this last season during the rut came into one of these. He didn't give a crap about anything on this table. He didn't care about mock scrapes. He didn't care about bleak cans. He didn't care about grunts. He wanted to see what was making this scent. He walked straight to it.
Oh yeah.
And
I recommend the product. That's another thing too. So this company, so every year they buy back their products from their retailers, and so the next season they send out new ones. So if you go to the store and buy these, you're not buying last year's estrus, or this is estrus sticks. You're not buying last year's stock. You're buying that fresh year's stock. Great company. I love Black Widow.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, their company is a CWD negative company, right? And so in North Carolina, starting, I want to say it was last year or this year, recently, in order to purchase doe urine, buck urine, whether it be real scents, right? Their products had to come from a CWD negative facility, right? We don't have any known cases of CWD in North Carolina. So Black Widow is one of those, as far as I'm tracking. Just generally great products.
Yep.
The next thing that Stefan's going to talk about that I am absolutely in love with is his branch butter.
Yep.
So we have done, early season normally, we'll go out. We'll trim lanes, we'll scout a little bit, we'll do a little shed hunting with the kids, and we'll just generally check areas out. But then we end up opening up at least 1 to 2 mock scrapes in the area that we're going to be hunting, right? Mm-hmm. We'll hang a camera nearby there just to see what's hitting it, if anything. And I'll tell you, the first year we did it, we got nothing. They didn't even touch our mock scrapes. There was a real scrape they opened up next to it, but they didn't care about our mock scrape. But this was the game changer.
It was the game changer. So this is also Black Widow, and I'll tell you what. So I open a mock scrape. I do my mock scrapes. I'll hit it with some teaks because you can't go wrong with teaks.
Got him with the teaks.
And then I also do, this is Buckstop, Ruck and Buck. So I'll pour about 30, 40 drops of Tinks in there, dough estrus. And I'll do the same thing, 30, 40 drops of the Ruck and Buck into the actual scrape itself. And then the branch above the mock scrape, I'll break it. It's like a deer bit it off. And then I'll put a very nicely coating on that branch.
And
The old licking branch butter.
I don't know what is in this stuff, but it brings them in. Like, we set up 2 mock scrapes this year, used the branch butter on the branches, and I'll tell you what, I've taken branches from real scrapes, been very careful, used the gloves, cut them off, zip tied them on other trees, and deer wouldn't touch them. This stuff, though, brought deer into every scrape that we made this year. And he used a little bit different stuff, so I stole this from my wife. This is Stanley and Scruggs Dough and Heat Lure. I would spray a little bit of that in there, combination, a little bit of buck. I would piss in it, and then I would throw the branch butter. Yeah, you always
got to pee in it.
You got to pee in your scrapes. You're not peeing in your scrapes, so what's the point?
Yeah.
Break the branch off, toss some branch butter in there, and we were in business. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that's everything.
I mean, other than that, besides this, what we use for scent control, that's another thing I forgot. So, you're seeing some hand warmers here. These are 2 for a person. These are a 2 for thing. It's cold outside, warm your hands up. I also use the hand warmers though with these right here. Take the hand warmer, put a rubber band around it. It heats up your liquid in there. Hot air rises, so it helps get that scent more out. So it's 2 for. Other than that, though, that's what we use.
If you did like this video, leave us a comment. If you didn't like this video, leave us a comment. If you have a product that you swear by, maybe we'll go buy it and try it out. Just let us know in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Thanks for watching.
Yep. And when in doubt, hit them with some Tinks or some Black Widows.
They won't go 20.
That's right. If you're sitting on your couch, can't be dishing out dirt naps.